Welcome to Hot Water Wrestling. Well, let's get right into it. This is my first update, obviously. Brand new channel. And I decided to get involved on YouTube talking about wrestling. Not because of the characters that are on there right now, but because of my worry, because of my disappointment in the WWE. Now, I have been a lifelong wrestling fan. I was lucky enough to have grown up in the golden era in the 80s. Enjoyed all those great years. I kind of dropped off in the early to mid 90s and picked it back up again at the end of the 90s. And other than around 93, 94, 95, I don't remember a low in WWE wrestling like we're experiencing now. I think that it's largely due to this new PG direction that Vince wants to take with the company. It's really been dumbed down, and frankly, it's very hard to watch. I know that's really no secret out there. Most of you in the IWC community out here feel the same way I do. But I wanted to talk about something that I haven't heard discussed yet. Something new, a theory I thought up. And that is, you know, I watched wrestling because my dad liked wrestling. I ended up liking wrestling more than him, but had he never turned it on, I never maybe would have gotten into it. I don't know. But the point being is let's look at football for a minute. You know, you're a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, let's pretend. And you have a son or a daughter, and they grow up in the house with you watching the Cowboys and rooting for the Cowboys, and as they get older, they get into the football, and now they become a Cowboys fan. And they have kids, and they take their kids to the Cowboy games, and they become Cowboy fans, and on down the line. Well, WWE is kind of making it impossible for adults, and even people in their high teens, to really get into their product. And I think it's going to suffer, ultimately, because if I have a kid, I'm not going to be watching wrestling with my kid right now. I'm not going to be tuning into WWE. And therefore, he or she may not become a WWE fan. I think to just market the product for kids only is a really dumb idea. You know, it might pay off for 2 or 3 years. A kid might get into it and really enjoy it, but as they grow up and become more wise to the world, their interest is probably going to taper off because the product's so watered down. You know, I'm not some bloodthirsty wrestling fan, but at the same time, I find it really hard to swallow a pill of a Hell in a Cell event where we know we're not going to see any blood. I mean, this is hell in a cell. It's hell in a cell, not, you know, PG rating in a cell. Like, you know, I mean, it should be like called, I don't know what it should be called, but the padded cell. You know, and it's just kind of annoying, you know. I wish there was some kind of happy medium. I wish we could reach some kind of happy medium. And, you know, the WWE Superstars show, I think that's a good idea. I think that if they even did a Saturday morning wrestling show for kids, that would be a good idea. A lot of kids, they have to go to bed halfway through Monday Night Raw or right when Monday Night Raw starts. So why are you marketing this product towards, you know, little children when they're not even really awake to watch it? Me having this conversation just makes me feel completely foolish that I'm up here even talking about this, but it's just gotten on my nerves. It's just gotten on my nerves so much, and I just think it's going to affect the ladder of the generations of wrestling fans. You know, that it's just going to have an impact if they keep it up. It's just going to be really hard. And, you know, a part of the reason is WWE, as we all know, really doesn't have any competition as far as like in the ratings and network and all of that. The TNA is a great company, but they do not. They're not at the level of WWE. They're not there at all. They're not really a competitor per se. They're not going neck to neck like we had in the days of WCW and WWE, where both companies were forced to push the envelope and test the limits week in and week out to outdo the other one. And since we don't have that competition going anymore, we really, WWE has become complacent. Complacency would be the word. And also, in the 80s, NWA and the WCW, the form it was in back then, and they even helped WWE push the limits and push their bar. The NWA didn't really have the stronghold that the WWF at the time had, but they still, were on TNT. They still got airtime. Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, the Road Warriors, and Sting, and on down the line, all these great people. It definitely helped keep WWE, WWF at the time in check. It kept them honest, at least, But right now, they just have no competition. And, speaking of TNA, let's move on to that. I kind of go back and forwards with TNA, Some weeks I really get into it, and I really think, like, oh, it's going to, be the savior of wrestling. And then the other week I tune in and I'm like, this is the most trashiest, horrible television that anyone could ever possibly watch. I've noticed that the in-ring action of TNA has improved. Maybe it's just me, but I think that the actual wrestling matches have gotten a lot better. And, frankly, I'm in it to watch the wrestling matches. The backstage drama and the storylines, the whole soap opera thing. It's always kind of secondary for me. As good as it gets, as good as it's been in the past, or as bad as it's been, or whatever it is, it's always still a backseat to me. What matters is what's actually happening in the ring. That's always the most important part of wrestling to me, the most exciting part of wrestling. And I think TNA has done well with that recently, and I hope they keep it up. Some of their gimmicks, I'm not so high on, but, anyways, enough of that. Welcome to Hot Water Wrestling. And I hope to see you again. Subscribe or tune in. I'll be updating as I think of things to talk about.